Hey, I'm Matt, and this is my expandable, 6-foot long CRV camper bed with a pull-out table. It's lightweight, made from one sheet of plywood, a couple of old door hinges, and like everything that I make, I had no idea what I was doing before I started, and I just watched a bunch of YouTube videos like this one. All right, so the first thing I did was measure the inside of the SUV. Then I watched a few YouTube videos about a free software called Cinema 4D. I was able to build my very first 3D model in just a few hours, and this really helped me understand how I was going to use every single piece of this one sheet of plywood. And it was way easier than I thought thanks to this guy. Once the design was done, I tried to head to the Home Depot, but instead, I watched a few YouTube videos, got a ride to the auto parts store, installed a battery, then went to Home Depot. I had them make the first cut so I could fit it in the back of the CRV. Then used a T-square to measure out all 31 pieces. Could you go over there? This dude taught me to find the distance from my saw blade to the blade guard, then clamp a straight edge to the piece you plan to cut. This method helped me get some really clean lines on these long, skinny pieces. Clearly, I very carefully finished up and I was ready to start putting this thing together. The first thing I assembled was the base of the bed. This is what the middle section rests on when the seats are folded up and what the table slides out of. There are 4 legs that hold up the base. The back legs are made of 2 smaller pieces and the front legs are just 1 piece each. To create a really tight bond between the 2 pieces of the back legs, I used this cheap jig and added something called pocket holes. Then I added some glue, clamped them together, and added the pocket hole screws. This made these legs super strong. I also added pocket holes to the tops of the legs because that's how I attached them to the top of the base. Before this project, I didn't know anything about pocket holes, or pocket hole screws, or pocket hole joints, but I learned a lot from this guy. Check out his videos if you really want to understand pocket holes, pocket hole joints, pocket hole joints. Okay, so once the legs were attached to the top with the pocket hole joints, I was ready to attach these horizontal supports. These improve the shear strength of the base, and the top ones act as the rails for the slide-out table. I glued and screwed the braces into place, and a middle brace for a little extra strength. The final part of the base was the back support beam. This is what the middle section rests on when the bed is fully extended. I glued and screwed those last few pieces together. Then I finished the table assembly with a handle, a ramp and wedge system to keep the table from pulling all the way out, and a few small pieces to keep the table from sliding too far back. And then, obviously, I had to do a strength test. All right, so this middle section is much simpler. A set of guides in the front keep it straight as it slides on and off the base, and the legs will rest on the back of the CRV's folded down seats to keep things level. I cut one corner off of each guide to help with the alignment when I'm expanding and contracting the bed, and then I glued them to the top. After that, I put together the 2 pieces that make up the legs of the middle section. I attached those to the platform and then made sure everything was fitting into the SUV nicely. The middle section was pretty much done at this point. I just had to round the edges of the platform. I used this oscillating saw, and then I used the same tool with a sanding attachment just to smooth it out a little bit. Okay, last piece, but certainly not least piece, is the headrest extension. This is going to be really important to make that 6-foot long bed so that I can actually fit into it. After harvesting the hinges off an old screen door, I bent them back into shape, filed the corner down, lined everything up, then screwed them into place. Okay, so at this point the structure was done, but I didn't love the look of the pocket holes. Cut a dowel into a bunch of pieces, added some glue to the holes, and tapped the dowels in. Once the glue was dry, I cut each dowel off with my oscillating multi-tool. I use this thing for basically everything, so if you want to check it out, I'll link to it below. I'll also leave a link to a PDF of all the measurements for this. But I didn't really make this thinking that people would follow along and make it exactly the way I did. It just blows my mind that I can learn new joinery techniques, learn how to make a 3D model, order everything I need to build that physical thing, and have it shipped to me the next day. And we're really living in amazing times, and I made this YouTube channel and this video just to celebrate that. So if you like what I made, like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, tell your friends, but most importantly, go make something, because it's not that hard. Bye. Thanks. I think that's what you're supposed to do at the end of a YouTube video.